Hey, what's up? This is Gary from Raz Rentals. This review is really exciting for me because not only will this action figure complete my Ninja Turtle team, but this review is also my 100th video. That's right, 100. Can you believe it? My very first toy review was the Ultimates Raphael. So this guy is the perfect guy for this mighty milestone, you know. So, without further ado, let's go. This is my review of the brand new Super7 Ultimates Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Wave 4 Donatello, the brains of the Turtles. Old Ho's brain himself. This action figure was put up for pre-order all the way back in October of 2020, and I didn't get him until, I think, December of 2021. That was like 14 months. That is crazy. So he comes packaged in this brown mailer. This extra protection was made popular during Masters of the Universe Classics, and Super7 has kept this tradition going. You know, went from Masters of the Universe Classics to Thundercats Classics, and then when Masters of the Universe came over to Super7, they just kind of kept it and kept going with it. So this guy cost $45, and I believe he's still available right now on Big Bad Toy Store and a few other spots. You better pick this guy up while you can for only $45 because, that's it, my friend. All these Ultimates now cost $55 or more. If these things go up to $75, that'll be the death of this line, in my opinion. All right, so past the box, you will find even more packaging and more boxes. But on the back here, it doesn't say much. Just contents, one figure, accessories, Super7, Nickelodeon, UPC, choking hazard, all that stuff. So you open it up from the side here, and inside, your guy is wrapped in a bag. Oh. The actual packaging for the figure is this very cool slipcover design. All the good guys have green slipcovers, the bad guys have purple. On the front here, they all have manholes where it has the character's face. There's Donnie himself, and also his bow staff. They exchange all that for each character. Down at the bottom, ages 14 plus, Super7. On the back, not much of anything. Nothing to note, really. Although, up top here, it does say Ultimates. That's cool. That's how you know that this thing really is the ultimate. All right, so there's Donatello in all of his glory, and that is pretty awesome looking. I always liked how the Ninja Turtles all had their own special colors back in the day when I was a kid, because, whenever you would color everything, you could make them all distinct. You'd have olive green for Leo, green for Raph, forest green for Michelangelo, and I would just always make Donatello brown. So it's really awesome getting, that they continue to keep these colors around with this Super7 Ultimate series, because, I don't know, Donatello always looks cool in brown. To me, I always thought that's a cool color combination, that purple and brown. So yeah, he looks pretty awesome in there. I do notice that there is some marks on my bow staff, so that's not the coolest, but if you're a Mint on Box collector, you have this big window here so you can see your guy in there with everything else. That all looks good. On the back here, it has a description of Donatello. The description reads, Donatello, the turtle's crazy genius. Donatello's the best idea turtle you'll ever find. He's the brains of the group and the designer of the turtle vehicles. Rather than use his bow or brawn, Donatello would prefer inventing some device or clever apparatus to foil the foe. Still, Donnie's one powerful reptile with his staff, which enables him to parry, vault, and crush. Even Donnie gets turtle-sized pleasure in stomping the foot. What's turtle-sized pleasure? So I have a lot of high hopes for this guy. I hope he's not going to fall over as much as the original Donatello toy falls over. All right, so I'm going to open this guy up, move him around, make sure nothing's broken, and get back to you in a second. So here's Donatello, fresh out of the package and free to fight monstrous mutants on my shelf, instead of living a cold, desolate existence locked in a prison of cardboard and plastic. Man, Donnie looks great, and best of all, he's not going to fall over every 5 seconds like that original Donatello action figure. Son of a bitch! I can't believe how long it took to get here, But man, we finally got here. All 4 turtles. You know, Super7 announced this TMNT Ultimates line way back in 2018. And it took 3.5 years to put this team together. Some people were upset that they, they spaced out the turtles, one per wave. But I actually kind of liked it that way, you know. I like that Super7 decided to break them up a little bit so we could get more villains early in the line. You know, lots of times you get a Ninja Turtle line and you just have the 4 turtles. You know, it was so much nicer having Raph next to Baxter and the Foot Soldier, you know, so he could fight them. Sometimes it's just kind of boring just having the 4 guys standing there by themselves. I only wish that Super7 could have put out these guys a lot quicker, you know. All the Donnie fans, you know, they must have been dying for the past 1.5 years. I mean, after all, Donnie is the brains of the outfit. You know, he's one of the most consistent characters from cartoon to cartoon to comic to comic. The only time I can think of where he's not like a science whiz is the 1990 movie. Although he did say claustrophobic. That's a pretty big word. I always liked Donatello. His personality was, you know, great in the original show, and I loved Barry Gordon's voice. He had such a unique voice. Even now, when I watch Curb Your Enthusiasm, it's so great watching him have conversations with Larry David. And every time I say to my wife, "Hey, look, there's the voice of Donatello." Every time we watch it, she loves it. Donatello was always the best in every video game. I mean, from the original Nintendo game to the arcade and Turtles in Time, and, well, in my opinion at least, it was because he had such a good reach with his long bow, you know. And, as a kid, you could always play as Donatello because all you needed was a stick and you'd be good. What? You're going to be Leo with those plastic swords? Well, I'm Donnie with my real wooden bow. In the comics, Donnie is usually, too smart for his own good. Meaning, his scientific mind sometimes makes it hard for him to relate to the other turtles. It's like, every time he gets the inspiration to go change things around, no one wants to help him look for places where new things can be found, you know? I guess he just wasn't made for these times. One of my all-time favorite comic book moments of Donatello is the little skirmish or fight between Donnie and Casey Jones in Ninja Turtles number 49, Shades of Grey, Part 2 of 2. It just does a really good job of showing Donatello's personality and, how Casey and him, they really don't get along together. They don't really have anything in common. I don't know. I don't want to spoil too much. Casey Jones is looking for a fight when they get into the fight. But, if you've never read it, you should definitely check it out. Not to mention this awesome cover by A.C. Farley. That's just beautiful, right? Now, one of my biggest disappointments in the comic books is Donatello the Brain Thief. I was really hoping that this was going to show some really crazy, juicy details of why Donatello was keeping Baxter Stockman alive in the sewers for, I think, a couple years or something like that. But I don't know. It just didn't deliver what I was hoping for. So, I don't know if I necessarily recommend that. I don't know how easy or hard it is to find this comic nowadays, but I don't know. At least Donatello did have a miniseries. There's a lot of things that, I think need to be discussed in this video. But first thing is first. We have to talk about consistency. There was a big gap from Raph to Leo to Mikey to Donnie. And, you really want to make sure that all 4 of these guys look right together. You don't want any weird inconsistencies. These guys all share the same exact body from the neck down. So, we know at least that matches. This is unlike the original toy line where they all shared the same torso, the shell, but their arms, legs, and heads were all unique. The colors look sharp on these guys. And, the paint is pretty well done. I think that's because most of the armbands and the knee pads, I think those are all, extra vinyl pieces. The only thing that's painted, I believe, is, their masks. So I do have a couple of spots on my Mikey head and a few spots on my Donatello head that, aren't perfect. But in general, the paint is nice and sharp. They all have, a dark shading in the cracks and crevices of their muscles. This really helps them pop a lot. They don't have that very bland action figure look. They don't necessarily look plasticky. I mean, it's all up to you. To me, it creates a nice illusion of life. It looks to me like Raph, Mikey, and Donnie all have bright yellow shells in the front. Leonardo's is a little darker for some reason. And it also looks like the paint isn't applied. Like if you look, there's sort of like a spray of a dark paint in between the middle of the shells. And Leonardo's just looks flat, like it's the same color all the way around. Back in the original toy line, the yellow mostly matched across all 4 turtles, but depending on when you got your turtles, the yellow could be a little different. You know, the shade could just be a little different, you know, from the soft heads to the hard heads. And I think even some of the hard heads have different yellows at different times. Raph's belt looks as though there is some kind of like dry brushing to really bring out the different textures. It just looks a little like a lighter color compared to the black of the belt. He probably has the nicest looking belt, and even those like little silver circles, those are all painted silver too, I believe. Either that or it's like tricking my mind into thinking that they're painted, but I'm pretty sure that they are painted. Leonardo is pretty interesting because they painted those bits on the front of their silver. And I actually kind of like that. I actually thought that looked cool, but according to Super7, that was like a factory error. He also has some silver like screws or bolts on the back. You know, those look pretty cool too. Now, Michelangelo to me looks like he doesn't have any extra paint on there whatsoever. If there is, it is very close to black. You know, it just looks like he's got a black belt on, and it doesn't really look like there's any paint highlights or anything like that. And Donatello too. It looks like there isn't any dry brushing or anything like that. It still looks good. You know, the textures still look nice, but it just doesn't pop as much as that Raphael did. Like you could, yeah, he definitely does not have any extra paint apps on this belt or the bowl holster. In the original toy line, all the turtles were supposed to have the same color shell in the back. You know, just again, depending on when you got your action figure, the shade of black or dark green could be a little different. If you look at the Ultimates, these guys all have unique shell colors, but I think some of them are very similar. Like Raph's, of course, is very different compared to everybody else's. Leo, his shell looks sort of like a couple shades deeper than his skin tone, which is pretty nice. Same thing with Michelangelo. His shell on his back looks more of like a very dark, you know, forest green. Donatello's, though, I feel like maybe his could have been a little darker because his is very similar to Mikey's almost. Either that, or maybe it would have been kind of interesting if they would have given him like a brighter green shell or something like that. Like Raph has that dark brown shell. If they would have given Donatello something a little more contrasty, something with a little more contrast, you know, maybe it would have been pretty cool. I mean, it looks awesome. It's just like I guess maybe I was expecting him to have a little different color shell. Like I said, this is like not a nitpick. This is not a complaint. It looks cool, you know? It's just a little notes, I guess. When it comes to the heads are pretty consistent. You know, they sort of have a matte finish, or they're kind of flat, so they're not super shiny. And they sort of have a burst of like shading somewhere, you know, maybe on the nose or something like that. At least Raph does. It's hard to tell with Leo and Donatello. The only one that's different is Michelangelo. Michelangelo's head looks like, you know, they stuck it in like a bowling ball buffer or something like that, because his head is super, super shiny. So, you know, he has the less consistent head among the 4 brothers. Even on the new like Super7 expression or design heads, the ones that look more like Michael Dooney, same deal. You know, they all have sort of a flat matte look, except for Michelangelo. His is just so shiny. And the last thing that we have to look at is fingernails and toenails. All right. Raph, Leo, and Donatello all have like a brighter, shiny paint on their fingernails to try to make him look more lifelike. For some reason, though, Michelangelo does not have the fingernails painted. He doesn't have that cool look. It's like Mikey was made in a different factory or something like that. Like his head is shiny, his fingernails are not like the other Ninja Turtle fingernails, and even his weapons have different like paint apps. So, I don't know what happened to Mikey, but something happened to Mikey. So, in conclusion, I do think that these Ninja Turtle action figures were pretty consistent. The biggest difference being Mikey's head and his lack of nail paint. You can get over the belt, but his head is just so shiny. He doesn't match the other three guys. But it's great that in general, they are very close. Very close. Because, some toy lines like, Thundercats, I haven't opened up Jockey yet, but I think that, I don't think he does, but some of the toys in the Thundercats line will have like the no pin look, and you don't know how, weird or jarring that might look when you have your pin Thundercats next to your no pin Thundercat toys. So, but like I said, overall, these are done exceptionally well. Moving on, now it's time to compare this brand new Ultimates to the original Donatello from 1988. Let's start off with the head. Now, I love this expression on Donatello. I think it's great. I love all the expressions of the original Ninja Turtle faces. To me, those are almost as iconic as the colors the Turtles wear, When I was a kid, I would draw the Ninja Turtles with those grimaces on their faces. And Donatello looks extremely mad. He looks like Mikey just got pizza grease all over his favorite picture of Einstein or something like that. He's super angry. It looks great, He's got the same number of teeth and everything like that. There is a little bit of like an angle downward for his teeth that sort of exists on that original action figure, but it's not as extreme. Same thing with the other side. This one, it's not necessarily an angle. It just looks like that one front tooth was pretty big. Sometimes you get Donatello toys, and they'll actually make the eyes will be kind of like shrunk a little bit, which is kind of a bummer. That's not the coolest look on Donatello. In my opinion, the best Donatello head, and I've mentioned this in my 1988 Ninja Turtle review, is the soft head version of Donatello, because for whatever reason the details are more sharp than the hard-headed version, and just the shape of the head is so much nicer. Like it's a little more like elongated in the nose there. The hard head version, it's like squished in a little bit. So if you're ever looking for a original 1988 Donatello, I recommend picking up the soft head version. All right. Going down the line, you can see that Donatello has two straps that go across his chest. For some reason, I always picture Donatello with the one strap going across his shoulder. I don't know if it's because of the movie or maybe the artwork. For whatever reason, I always thought he should have the one going across when I was a kid looking at this toy. If you look at the belt here, you have these like little tiny buckles that connect the straps to the belt. That is not on the original belt. As you can see, the shell is pretty much the exact same shape and everything like that. And I've talked about this 3 times before on all of these Ultimates reviews. Now, there is this like little tiny, I don't know if this is like a pocket or something like that on Donatello's shell that does not exist on this Ultimates version. Instead, he has like these hoops or rings like the other Ultimates Ninja Turtles. See, that loop is sort of present on the original belt, but here it's actually got the hole in the middle, so it's a little different. It's cool. In the back, the straps kind of connect the same exact way as the original toy. Now, the back of this shell is extremely dark, right? And the straps on the back here, so I had to brighten it up quite a bit to be able to see it. But, the one thing that, I always thought that Donatello needed like a redo is that stupid bow holster, because every time you're trying to find an old Donatello action figure, this is always broken. It is almost impossible to find one in perfect shape, but luckily I have 2 of them. So it's hard to find these intact, and I kind of wish that maybe they could have did this a little differently. It sort of has like the same problem where you put the bow in and it kind of pushes this down and around a little bit. This is like an extra bit that I think is just kind of glued in place onto the belt. So while it is faithful to the original, I wish they could have did it a little differently. But it still looks good. You kind of have these buckles connecting this bit to this, on the belt. Kind of like how all the other Ultimates Ninja Turtles sort of have that same kind of extra buckle look on their belts to try to make it look a little more realistic. If you look at the arms, the 1988 Turtles are known for having like super muscular arms with huge bulging veins. The Ultimates did a fantastic job of, copying that exact look. He's got these huge bulging veins, and it even looks like all the muscle definition is very similar to that original action figure. I don't know, the muscles on the original Ninja Turtles just always stood out to me. They're a little different than the Marvel toys or anything like that. Now, one thing that is a little different is the forearms. The forearms on the original action figures were very basic. They're just kind of flat. There wasn't much muscle definition there at all. But if you look at the Ultimates forearms, man, like the muscles on these look fantastic. They look so defined and like, I don't know, really practical. Like they look amazing. They look inspirational. Like I want to go and draw a picture and try to figure out how to draw muscles that look as good as these. Like they look great. And then like even on the legs, Super7 has done an amazing job of sort of copying the muscle definition there too. Like they have like these huge, I don't know, I'm really bad with my muscles. Despite being an artist, I have a really hard time. I think these are the quads, right? I don't know. You have the big one in the middle, and then you have the two on the side. But they look, they match perfectly that original 1988 action figure because regular people's, their muscles are a little different. But, the Ninja Turtles, theirs look like this, and it looks great. Down on the shins and the calves, you can see that once again, the muscle definition is like almost perfect, all the groups just look very similar, and it's just amazing how well they not only copied that look from the original action figure line, but also improved upon it. I'm, again, for the fourth time, I'm super impressed with how amazingly awesome this guy is. The articulation on the original Donatello was limited, but, it was still good. It worked and did what we needed. The head can turn around. The shoulders can rotate around. The forearms can rotate, so you can get him into different bow-holding positions. And he just has ball-jointed hips. That's it. Donatello has the worst stance of any, oh my gosh, any Ninja Turtle. He's always falling over, even when I'm holding him in my hands. He has the worst stance of all. Like, for some reason, the way his feet are positioned, it's just a pain in the neck trying to get him to stand. So one of the greatest things about this brand new Ultimates action figure is you don't have to deal with this stupid stance. The Ultimates Donatello doesn't have any toe articulation, so you couldn't get him into a pivoting stance if you wanted to, which is both good and also, I don't know, you can't get him into extreme poses or anything like that. But the articulation he has is pretty good. He's got a ball-jointed head, so you can look all over the place. You can look up that much, down that much, and then just, side to side and spin it around, whatever. His shoulders can rotate around. He has a hinge. He has a bicep cut. You have single-jointed elbows, but these are pretty nice because they still work well, and plus you can also swivel there. Unfortunately, you would hope even with maybe a single jointed elbow that you would get more of a 90-degree angle, but you're not going to be able to get that, unfortunately. His wrist does rotate around 360, and depending on which set of hands you have in here, some of the gripping hands have hinges that go vertically, and some of them go horizontally. So those are nice. Down here in the waist area, there is a joint inside of the shell there, so you can actually move the legs around like that. You can also rotate them, which is pretty nice. He has ball jointed hips, and they can rotate up or side to side, rotate forward and back. The shell can get in the way a little bit sometimes, but it's not too bad. The hip rotates around that ball too. Down at the knees, you have single jointed knees. They have the hinge, and they also do have a swivel. They did a really good job, I will say, with hiding the joints. It is nice seeing action figures without the pins. So that is good. Down at the ankle, you just have a hinge and you have ankle rockers. And yeah, that's about it. Now, I would say that you're able to put Donatello into, a lot of battle positions and stuff like that. But to be honest with you, it's a little tricky. It's not because of his articulation, it's because of the bow. His bow staff, I think, is just a little too small. Like, it should have been like an inch longer. Just like a half an inch on the ends here would have been perfect. Because lots of times when you try to pose him in different positions, his hands kind of slip off the bow because, I don't know, you just don't have a lot of room to work with this thing, unfortunately. So, yeah. I'll talk more about that when I get to the bow section during accessories. If you look at the brand new Super 7 Ultimates head, obviously they were not inspired at all by that original look on Donatello's face. And that's perfectly fine with me because this is like a perfect expression for Donatello. Look at him. He looks like he's plotting and thinking what's going to be his next move to thwart the enemies. Instead of using brute force, maybe he'll use some kind of gadget or use some kind of physics. I don't know. Obviously, I'm not very scientific, but Donatello looks great. It's both super awesome and totally rad to finally have the fourth and final turtle in hand. Now you can try to set up the guys and all of those famous poses. It's a little difficult because the articulation is not as crazy as like a Marvel Legends or something like that, but you can try. You can try. So to be honest with you, I'm happy that I don't have to compare a Ninja Turtle body again, because I've had to discuss this same body 4 times now, and I just feel like I'm repeating myself so many times. I'm sure you get it already, but I gotta talk about it because I gotta review this Donatello action figure. And now let's talk about accessories. First up, you have the weapons rack. And this is pretty awesome looking, It looks just like the weapons racks that came with the original Turtles way back when. I don't ever pull these apart, but I do appreciate that Super 7 includes them when they can. Some figures like Muckman and Mondo Gecko don't have enough accessories to facilitate an entire rack, but I'm glad that people like Donatello and some of the other characters all have these cool weapons racks. I don't know, they're just neat, And I like how the, Wave 5 and 6... their weapons racks have become more unique per individual and stuff like that. And here you can see the original weapons rack, and it is laid out the exact same way. So neat. All right, so consistency, right? I don't have the Raphael variant. I guess when they make like the weapons racks a little darker or something like that. But here you can see the version 1 Raph. And then the Leonardo weapons racks. Now, all of these look very similar, They're not 100% the same shade, but they are very close. But then you have Michelangelo, and Michelangelo's weapons rack looks more like the color of the original weapons racks, and just like way darker than these other ones. So what happened there? I don't have a Michelangelo variant, I just have the regular Michelangelo. What happened? I don't know. Up next, you have the bow. Now, as I said before, I do think that this bow is too small. The original one seemed like it was a little more longer and thin. This one, it seems like it's thicker, and I don't know, there's just something about it, maybe the wrap, that doesn't seem like as nice or something like that as that original one. The original bow was taller than Donatello, and I think that is sort of important. you know, because you want this bow to be a decent size. Obviously, you don't want to be too long that like when it's sticking into his bow holder that it's not like hanging on the ground all the time. But I don't know, you want it longer than this. This one is only up to shoulder level. For the sake of comparison, the NECA movie Donatello, his bow is a little longer, you know, up to around mouth level, and it just seems like so much longer than this Donatello. I think maybe because it is like sort of stubby. The 2003 Donatello's bow is way taller than him, so that is pretty good too. And finally, the bow for the cartoon and video game Donatello from NECA, that is taller than them too. So like I said, I just think that this bow should have been a wee bit taller. If you're a big Ninja Turtle collector like me, you may be able to substitute his bow for one of these other ones. This is the Super7 one. That obviously is the video game one, but you know it's just a little bit of a different color than the cartoon. This is the movie one. That is the 2003, and this is the Playmates Classics version. The only thing is you're going to have a hard time getting him to hold some of the thinner bows because he has a bigger grip. Maybe that's why this one is a little so, you know, it's really thick compared to most of the other bows. Here he is holding the Playmates Classics bow, the one that you can get now in the Donatello Shredder 2-pack available on Walmart. And there's tons of them on there because nobody's been buying them. Seriously, they've been in stock since, I think, like October or November. And I've been meaning to do a review of mine, but I've been talking about better Ninja Turtle toys. But look at this. This actually looks pretty good in his hands, you know. I think this length is a little nicer than this one, don't you think? Up next, you have the Kama, and this is such an amazing looking weapon, you know. I never liked the original Kama. I always thought it looked a little lame. I mean, what's Donatello trying to do? Like, pull a comedian off the stage or something like that? But this one looks so dangerous and so, you know, brutal. I like it a lot, actually. Consistently, it is very similar to all the other Kamas that we've seen before in this line. You know, the colors are all pretty much the same color on the handle. There is only one that is different, and can you guess who had the different Kama? It was Mikey. For whatever reason, Mikey has this golden piece down at the bottom, which is cool because it matches his nunchucks. His nunchucks have those little gold pieces on them, so neat. Up next, you have Donatello's fist dagger, well, one of his fist daggers, and this looks pretty amazing too. I really like the paint on all these fist daggers because it's very metallic silver, and just the handle looks really nice with the wash in there. Consistently, it looks very similar to all the fist daggers that I have from all the other Ninja Turtles. Now, I can't show you if there is a difference between the Michelangelo one and Donatello because my Michelangelo never came with a fist dagger. So, and I never got one. I contacted Super7 and they never sent me jack. So, that's that. Up next, you have the little fist dagger. Now, this one always seems a little strange to me. I just kind of feel like these are the things that Ninja Turtles would use to, like, climb up a wall or something like that. It's a little weird weapon. You know, like you're slapping somebody in the face with a handful of spikes. I think I've probably said that 3 other times already, but, you know, it is what it is. But this looks cool. Again, same thing. I like the silver. I like the handle. Consistently, pretty much exactly the same with all the other Ninja Turtles, except Michelangelo. Michelangelo also has those little gold highlights on the ends there, which is cool. You know, don't get me wrong. I kind of wish that maybe they would have done something like that with all of the Ninja Turtles, trying to give them each their own little flair for all their weapons. Donatello has 2 ninja stars. Now, consistently, they are exactly the same. All the Donatellos have, or I'm sorry, all the Ninja Turtles have these bigger ninja stars, and I believe only Splinter had like smaller stars, but they're all painted the same exact way, no difference. Up next, Donatello has a closed communicator. This is very nice, you know, very turtle-esque. It looks exactly like Raph's closed communicator. But the only one that was different was Leonardo's. Leonardo had these cool red highlights, and the green is a much darker green. Up next, you have Donatello's open communicator, and in my opinion, I think that this communicator is probably the nicest one of all. First of all, the buttons on the front are all painted really nice. They all look cool. I like the different colors. And you see that little blue square there? On Raph's, it is not blue. It is just gray. So, and most of his buttons aren't even painted. So I think it's better than Raph's. On the back, however, Raph has that little silver bit painted, but you know, I'll take the colored buttons over that silver bit any day. Again, Leonardo's is extremely different. You know, you have the dark green and you have the red highlights, and even the inside is like purple. I like the way that the buttons are colored here too. Even that little yellow where those little indents are there, that looks really sharp and nice. So, you know, I guess, I don't know, this one is definitely more classic Ninja Turtles, but this one has a cool thing about it. However, the back is just green. There's no paint there. Even I didn't notice that, even the antennas aren't painted. Up next, Donatello has a piece of pizza. Now, it is pretty much exactly the same piece of pizza that we've had before in this line, you know, just colored a little differently. Sometimes people have a little bit of spaghetti sauce up there in the top here, like either Leo's or Raph's. I don't know whose this is exactly. The big difference here is that this piece of pizza is actually flat, and both Leo and Raph have these more like dripping cheese pizzas. And just for a little bit of contrast, Mikey also had a flat piece of pizza because he had the pizza box. Unfortunately, that pizza is glued in place. But you know, if you try to put if you try to make a whole pie of these pizzas in that box, sort of like you can do with I believe most of the NECA pizza boxes, you're not going to be able to do that. Like these pieces of pizza are way too big. Next up, I got to talk about Donatello's extra head, because he does have two heads, so that is counted as an accessory, right? I really love this expression, as I said before. I was a little unsure about it at first because, I don't know, sometimes the promo shots I don't think do the best job of really capturing how these things will look in 3D in your hands. I felt like maybe his like beak looked a little too long or something like that, but here it just looks perfect. The expression is really nice. And like I said, if you compare his head to the other heads of the turtles, you know, they all seem practical and it seems like they're around the same shape, which is really nice. And I really like, you know, Donatello's look, like he's in thought. It's very solemn and wise. I could kind of like imagine him being in like he almost looks like he could be in like the Dark Crystal or something like that. I don't know. I love this thing. This looks really cool. Last up, Donatello has 4 sets of hands, or 8 hands altogether. And first up, he has these very nice expression hands, or grabbing hands, or reaching hands, you know. These are great because you can use them in different poses to, you know, just make them look cool, offset the grabbing hands, or you can, you know, have it make it look like he's grabbing like some bad guy by his shoulder or something like that, like hey, Bebop, get your damn hands off her, sort of thing. I love these kind of hands, and I'm glad that Super 7 includes them with all of their ultimates. Next up, Donatello has 2 sets of grabbing hands, and these are great because they have different types of hinges. You know, it may take up 4 different of his hands, but, you know, it's worth it, all right? So first you have hands with a horizontal hinge, so you can bend, you know, inward and outward. And then you have a hand with a vertical hinge, so you can move, you know, up and down, sort of. You know, these are very good for, you know, how you want to angle his bow when he's attacking the bad guys and stuff like that. And up last, Donatello does have a set of fists. And I'm trying to show you here that the mass of this hand actually matches the mass of the gripping hand pretty well. Like, it doesn't look like anything's lost. I would possibly say that maybe this could have been a little, like, chunkier or something like that, or maybe, like, a little wider, something like that, just so it's not, like, too flat. But in general, it looks pretty good. The nails painted really nice. Even here, like, the fingers look like they are crunched up really well. Some nice wrinkles in there. You know, all these Ninja Turtles, well, not all of them, that's a lie. Leo has had fists, Mikey had fists, and I'm super glad that Donatello had fists. Raph did not have any fists, and if you want to get fists, you're going to have to buy the undercover Raph from the Big Bad Toy Store exclusive. So, if you weren't planning on buying that, that's a reason to buy that, unfortunately. But I am buying that. I was going to buy it no matter what. So for me, it's party bonus. Now it's time to take a look at Donatello next to some of the past and current Ninja Turtle lines, plus some other things. Here's Donatello next to the Ultimates. Here you can get an idea of how he scales with the rest of the line. And just in all honesty, as more of these figures come out, these group shots are just going to be impossible to take because these guys take up too much space. You can't get them all on screen at the same time. Here's Donatello next to some of the many NECA Fred Wolf action figures. He fits in pretty well with most of them. He looks pretty cool standing next to him. I don't know if you necessarily want to mix and match these, but obviously he does not have those black lines like the Fred Wolf series have. So, he is a little bit different stylishly. Here's Donatello next to some of the NECA Mirage Ninja Turtle action figures. It looks like that mouser bit off the ends of Donatello's bow. Here you can see Donatello next to some of the NECA Ninja Turtle movie action figures. Donatello's probably wondering where Raphael got that coat. He wants to go undercover. Here's Donatello next to some of the Playmates bigger Ninja Turtle toys, whatever you call them. Here's Donatello next to just a few Playmates, original action figures. Here's Donatello next to some of the many awesome Ninja Turtle vehicles. Obviously, he is way too big for any of these, unfortunately. And, hopefully Super7 doesn't even try to make these because I don't even want to be tempted to buy the $3,000 Technodrome. Here's Donatello in the, I guess it's called Don's Crazy Carnival car. He's very big, but at the same time, you can, stand him up in it and pretend that, maybe this car is made for kids and you're supposed to stand and ride it. Here's Donatello standing next to the original Ninja Turtle Party Wagon. Now, if you're wondering, Gary, did you pre-order the Super7 Party Wagon? Well, no. Now, I'm not saying I'm not going to. I do plan on ordering it. It was just bad timing, I think. I think that, they put it up in December, right around you had all these other pre-orders and you have Christmas payments and all that other kind of stuff that you have to deal with. So I didn't pre-order it then. I'm just waiting for the time whenever I want to pay the money to pre-order it on Big Bad Toy Store. So I do plan on pre-ordering it. I just have not done it yet. Even the payment plan, I couldn't get on board with that on the jump because it wasn't as good as the original Super 7 payment plan. I think the original Super 7 payment plan had the Thundercats, the Thunder Tank was spread out for 3 months, which was pretty decent. But the Party Wagon or the Turtle Van, the way they had it spread out was every 2 weeks. So it was the amount of money in 2 months, and I just couldn't do it. So I'll probably just pay the money down for Big Bad Toy Store and then pay the giant sum at the end of it. I wish you could put money into your Big Bad Toy Store account throughout time to sort of pay on it. I know people I said stuff like that before and people were like, well, just put your money in the bank. And yeah, I could do that, but I won't. If you love the real Ghostbusters just as much as you love the Ninja Turtles, I highly recommend the Diamond Select Ghostbusters, the real Ghostbusters to be exact. They look pretty nice next to these Super 7 Turtles. But, I say that, take that with a grain of salt because, the Diamond Select toys have a lot of problems, super stiff joints, a lot of breaking, a lot of fragile bits and pieces, but they look pretty fantastic next to this Donatello. If you did have him next to a human character, things might start to get a little wonky just because the humans don't mix and match. But having Egon next to an anthropomorphic turtle, this is a pretty nice match. Here's Donatello next to the despicable Slythe. I love that Slythe action figure. He just looks amazing. And he looks really nice next to this Ultimates Donatello. Here's Donatello completely surrounded by the insidious Snake Men. Man, I love those Snake Men. They look awesome. And Donatello looks pretty awesome next to them. Fear not for Donnie. He brought his favorite whacking stick. If you were curious about what all Super 7 has released so far, year by year, well, here you go. As you can see, Super 7 has now completed the 1988 roster. So that is pretty awesome. And, for me, some of my favorite guys are in 88, and some of my least favorite guys, like Splinter and Shredder, were in 88. And now we're all in April. And now we're all past that. And now we get to go into crazy mutant land. So here is the 1989 wave. And here is who's left. We got lots of stuff coming, right? We've already seen Ace Duck, Leatherhead. I can't wait. I wish they could make Usagi Yojimbo, but apparently there's some rights issues with that. General Trag, I think, will look amazing. And finally, in 1990, this is by far probably my favorite Ninja Turtle wave for, the secondary characters. And we've already got Muckman and Mutagen Man and Mondo Gecko. That's pretty awesome. I hope we get Pizza Face, even though he's not one of my favorite guys, but I'm really dying for Scumbug. I can't wait to see Scumbug. And I'm really excited for Ray Fillet, which is coming hopefully within like a month or two, or I guess probably longer than that, right? I think last it said it was on the water. After that, though, they haven't released anybody in 1991, nobody in 1992, but I believe Scratch, he's from 1993. He is the only later character to be announced so far, and Scratch is okay, but he's no Scumbug. All right, so now it is time to take a look at Donatello next to many of the Donatellos that have come before. Here's Donatello next to the hardhead Donatello, and of course the softhead Donatello. Of course, he's going to fall over. Obviously, I talked about all of these guys in pretty great detail, so you should have a good idea how this guy looks next to these guys already. Now, I'm going to go over quite a lot here because this is the special 100th episode, so I'm going to try to include a bunch of Donatellos that I wouldn't otherwise. But, of course I would include this guy otherwise because this is the 2003 Donatello. These guys were amazing, These guys were like a step up from those old 1980s and 90s toys. To me, when I saw these Ninja Turtles on the shelves, I was like, man, I gotta buy them. And I drove all over the place just to find them. And Donatello was the first one that I actually picked up. And I bought two of them originally. I bought one to open because in college I made a fake intro for a TV show that was supposed to be about live toys. Called Toy Wars. So even long before I made this channel, I had toys on the brain. Maybe one day I should upload that. It was kind of funny. But I bought two Donatellos. And my first Donatello had two bows, but then I bought one mint on card and he only had one bow. So I don't know what's up with that. Bringing it back to the original 1980 series, you have the Wacky Donatello from 1990. You have the movie star Donatello from, was that 91? I think. Now, this movie star Donatello is kind of, like, he was cool because he's got the rubber body just like all the other movie star Donatellos. But really, the yellow spots, they were maybe a little too much. Up next, you have the Storage Shell Donatello, who is a very cool variant on Donatello. Speaking of cool variants, one of my absolute favorites is the disguise, the undercover Donatello. I love that funny face. Donatello is hidden underneath. Let's see, who else do we got? You got a Punker Donatello. Is he Punk Don or Punker Don? I don't know. This is hilarious. This is one of the, this is not my original one, but I still have my original one. It's one of the only original Ninja Turtle toys I have from back in the day. I love this. I love the metal hand. That was cool. Everything about that was cool. I hope that is the next variant set that Super 7 includes in waves 9 through 12. Up next, you have the I don't even remember what this is called, and I can't get him to stand because his feet are awful. But this is the basketball Donatello. And I love this because of course he's got 23, just like Michael Jordan. And I also love his his goggles, those goggle basketball glasses. Those are pretty awesome. And the last variant I'm going to show from that original toy line is the what is this, Olympic bodybuilder Donatello. I think this is hilarious too. I love his super gigantic muscles, and I love that he has the gap between his teeth, just like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Going down the line, I already showed Donatello in the 2003 series, and now I'll show this. I don't have the regular Donatello from the 2007 movie. I just have this weird, I don't know. Is he supposed to have like a mecha body connected to this or something like that? These 2007 toys were all right. I felt like the articulation was a little wonky or something like that. And I had the whole set, but I eventually got rid of them. And this is just kind of like an extra one that I got my son at a yard sale one time. Up next, you have Donatello from the 2012 series. He is the tallest out of all those 2007 Ninja Turtle toys. You know, just the four brothers. And he's cool. He's all right. You know, no complaints really. But he can only hold his bow really with one hand. I don't know. It's kind of strange with him. Now we're going to get into NECA Land. And first up, you have the Mirage Donatello. I love this. Again, he's got the same expression on his face. Just that closed mouth look. He's staring straight into my soul. Like, I don't know. Those Mirage Ninja Turtles were awesome back in the day. And up next, we will have the NECA movie star. Well, it's not movie star, but the NECA Donatello. And I love Donatello in that 1990 movie. To me, he is like the most Jim Henson-esque, like his face. You know, his beak to me looks so much like a Jim Henson character. You know, I love that. And I never liked the way that Donatello looked in the second movie. He had like the bug eyes. And here is the NECA cartoon Donatello. Now, my SDCC Donatello and the other Ninja Turtles, they have the hardest time standing. So I cannot wait to get the Turtles in Disguise box set whenever that eventually shows up. Just so, I don't know. I hope it fixes a lot of problems that I had with those original Ninja Turtle action figures. You know, they were awesome, but they just had some minor problems. And last up, you have the Playmates, like Ninja Turtle Classics, or whatever they're called now, action figures. Now, they're roughly around the same height, but, you know, the Super7 Ultimates one is just so much more aesthetically friendly. You know, you don't have all those pins. You don't have anywhere near the same amount of articulation, but he just looks so good. And my Donatello looks like a mule kicked him in the head or something like that. Like his one eye is cross-eyed, or he's got the wandering eye. So, you know, these were sought after for a while, but nowadays people aren't as interested in them. And if you still want this Donatello, you can easily find it on Walmart for asking price, $30 some. Him and the Shredder have been a 2-pack, and it's been available for quite a while, so you can go get it if you want it. And what the hell? Here's another couple of Donatello action figures. These guys are cool too. United States Turtle Force, pretty sweet. What does this one say? Turtle Fire Department. All right, that's cool, you know. And that's it. Donatello is a great character, and maybe my second favorite turtle. It's a tough call. The articulation, paint, and new head sculpt are all great on this guy. My only complaint is the bow is way too short. Since this is my 100th episode, I figured I'd show all 16 of my TMNT Ultimate thumbnails. You know, I really love these giant shots of each turtle next to all the different types of that turtle. You know, it's pretty cool looking when you see them all together. And, you know, now I won't have to make them anymore for the turtles because, you know, we're getting past the regular turtles, and now we're just going to get onto the, you know, I guess the disguised turtles next in series 5, 6, 7, and 8. So I'll just probably have you know, that disguised turtle original toy next to the new one. So, you know, that'll save me some time. You know, sometimes these things would take me like a half an hour to 45 minutes just to set up, you know, taking those pictures. So that's that's good for me, you know. Anyways, the past 100 reviews have been a lot of fun and overly super excessive, but that's how I like it. And hopefully I'll pump out another 100 or more videos in a somewhat timely manner. We'll see. So, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think, and talk to you later. What? You're still here? So obviously I lied. I did not do 16 Ultimates reviews because I never did the Foot Soldier review. So I do not have a picture of that thumbnail. But I'm going to tell you this. I pre-ordered a second Foot Soldier finally, and I'm getting it from Big Bad Toy Store, hopefully within a week or so. And, I'm not going to get to the review yet because I still have to go through my mountain of NECA reviews, not to mention Casey Jones, but eventually, I am going to review that Foot Soldier after I get it in hand. So, thanks for watching. Like I said, thanks for watching all these episodes, these 100 reviews so far. I really appreciate it, and see you later.